testosterone, we have a problem.
This is Outside the Manosphere, where two guys grow their bromance,
non-toxic bromance,
their non-toxic bromance, by exploring masculinity, manosphere culture, and joy in the stupidest timeline.
Join us. Welcome to Outside the Manosphere. My name is Carlos.
And I'm Skip.
Our main topic for the day is male privilege, and we've got a checklist for that, very similar to our invisible knapsack, so we'll get to that shortly. But first, I'd like to know what your news item is for the day / week. Skip.
So my news item for the day is Peter Thiel, who is, one of those lovely far-right billionaires that's been pushing to ruin the country. He got what he wanted, and Trump's president, and he's been doing all kinds of stuff. And now he's leaving the country because he doesn't like it. So a little bit of careful what you wish for. And if you had to guess where somebody that was very Nazi-like would go, where do they flee to?
I already know where you're going with this. So the answer is Argentina. And yeah. I had seen something about it, but I really don't know. So he's like, he's not surrendering his citizenship or anything, is he? He's just moving to Argentina?
I don't think so, but he's dissatisfied with the direction of the country under Trump after pushing all this shit forever. He got what he wanted, and it turns out it sucks. Big shocker to everybody.
Yeah, well, that kind of leads into my news item. I just saw, I guess a couple days ago, or maybe yesterday, that Trump is pulling back on that $1.8 billion slush fund that he was initially setting up. I mean, there's been such outcry over it that they're just slowly stepping back, it seems like.
Well, not officially. The courts have stopped them.
The courts have, but I guess they paused them. So I guess, and they had the opportunity, they still have the opportunity to appeal the decision. So, but anyway, it's not official, but they're like anonymous talk among the administration is that he's backstepping.
Yeah, plus Republicans were pushing back on it because they've got midterms even if Trump doesn't give a shit. And so they managed to find their spine when their job is on the line, but for nothing else.
So yeah, the other thing was that I was listening to my morning podcasts, and they were talking about how in like the Western US there's already droughts, and it's expected to be an extremely hot summer. And how farmers are abandoning their fields and like all kinds of shit right now because they're not going to be able to have enough water for yields. And they even mentioned some town in Arizona where they're out of water. They've already drained their supply, and like the mayor is urging people to like wear their clothing for 2 or 3 days before washing it, and like that is fucking wild, man. Considering the wealth and considering it's the United States, people don't think they can go full third world, but that's where we're headed.
I mean, the U.S. is increasingly turning into a third world country. People can't afford to eat. It's just everything's just kind of fallen apart. That's why Peter Thiel is leaving. But yeah, and this isn't new to. This problem isn't new to other parts of the world that aren't the United States. There's lots of water shortage. I've been telling my kids since they were born, if they're wasting water, I'm like, you're going to regret that when you're fighting the water wars.
Yeah. There's a book called The Tropic of Chaos, I think is what it's called.
Okay.
And it's about that very thing. Well, not about the very thing, but it's about how climate change is fueling migrations and wars among nations that are already suffering like water loss, and the fact that there's just guns laying around since the Cold War, they're using those, and it's just like this absolute nightmare and this cyclical thing where people shouldn't have the foresight to be like, all right, let's produce all these guns, let's arm all these little proxy militias, and nothing bad can happen from that.
No,
the guns will evaporate when the Cold War is over.
Carlos, somebody was making money off of that, so that's the most important thing.
I don't believe it, Skip. I don't believe that people were making money off of it. All right, Skip. Well, today's red flag is going to be somewhat brief. It's a continuation of one we had a few weeks ago, and it's about control and manipulation. So I've just got some bullet points that I want to go through because it's a big topic, and I think it's one of the red one of the reddest of red flags. So if you'll humor me a second, I've got some points here. I think it was implicitly described last time and throughout our podcasting lives. But one of them is when a man is trying, and not even just a man, a potential partner, but typically it's men, when they try to isolate you from family and friends.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I don't really have personal experience from that other than like I've just zoomed in on a relationship and just kind of abandoned everyone else and all the things around me and just kind of focused just on that. And then, you know, when the dust settles, I'm like, oh, I'm kind of alone right now. But I will say like an example of that, I think, and I've mentioned this before, and don't be fooled by this being an old example, but like my grandfather not letting my grandmother drive. And I don't know that he expressly said, you can't drive. I think he just discouraged her. Like, let me drive. I'm the husband. Let me drive. I'll drive.
Sure.
Maybe he did just completely say, no, you can't. I'm not sure. But anyway, she stopped driving. And with that came the freedom of like going about as she pleases. And that's an isolation tactic. She wasn't isolated. She had a pretty rich friend circle, I'd say. I don't know if it was rich, but she had friends. But that isn't always the case for a lot of partners, or where they just get sucked into a little bubble. Do you have any kind of insight into that?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen this not with the driving thing, but I've seen this happen to a friend in the past, and it was very sad because everybody kind of knew what was happening except this person, and people tried to say something. But, you know, like that's part of the manipulation is that person kind of turns all those people into, you know, like it's also part of that love bombing is, oh, these people aren't appreciating you. These people
Right.
are like, they're against our love and things like that. And they really do try to use like all the tricks in the book to get that person alone. So they're stuck. I mean, and it's the same thing with the financial manipulation we talked about. You know, if you don't have a means to get away, if, you know, you end up finding that you're a trad wife or something like that, and you don't have a resume and you don't have savings, you're up shit creek, you know?
Right. I think also isolation attempts can seem innocuous.
Mhm.
For example, if maybe you're like a gym rat and that's kind of what you do, and
Sure.
your partner is not. Your new partner is not. He might try to just discourage you from going to the gym. Be like, "Oh, I like you just the way you are." Or like, "Why are you doing all this?"
Yeah.
And that's not. I mean, that's on the surface. It seems kind and it seems accepting, but it's also just taking you away from this activity that you enjoy and that you do, and
Yeah.
that maybe you have a friends group that this person doesn't approve of, or this person is jealous of, or this person is insecure about. So even stuff like that can be packaged in like a sort of caring language, but it's just. And I won't even say it's designed to isolate you. It's just sort of like an insecure reaction to themselves.
I think sometimes it is designed though, but like, and another way that this presents is also like, oh, you know, I'm going to go to my sister's this weekend. I'm going to hang out with my sister, and the man will say, oh, I was hoping that we could hang out. So it's not like I'm isolating you. It's like, no, I wanted that special time for us, and that just
Right.
kind of is a trajectory that continues where they'll make somebody feel bad or guilty or like they're missing out on something. And that's another kind of like insidious, non-obvious manipulation technique.
Or something will come up like, oh, we were supposed to do this thing, or like, I really needed you to help me this weekend with this thing. You know what I mean?
Mm,
It doesn't sound. It's not an outright no. It's not a command.
right.
You can't go do this thing. You can't go see your family. But what you're doing is affecting our relationship right now because we had agreed or whatever.
Yeah.
But like,
Yeah.
you shouldn't be made to feel bad to see your friends and family.
What else you got?
Okay, so even something like pressuring you to answer your messages like immediately. I feel like they want to monitor you as you respond to somebody, or they want this done now so they can kind of see what your response is, what your reaction is to certain people, certain situations.
I think it's just, I mean, this is obviously something from the modern age. You know, this wasn't something that was around before there was text messaging where people could see that you'd read it. But I think a lot of it is just like thinking about the manosphere and the kind of people who do this and the heart of a lot of these things being insecurity. It's a control thing to be like, you know, if they don't respond immediately, what are they doing?
Yes.
What are they doing?
Like, what are
And
you
I think
hiding?
Yeah, what are you hiding? What are you doing? Why weren't you answering me? And it's just like kind of disgusting and like honestly, I'm all behind people taking a little break from their phone. The only time the only time I have a little bit of this is where I'm in a store trying to figure something out and I write my wife and like I'm just standing in a store waiting for an answer. Like you want this salsa or not?
Yeah.
But then if I'm really pressed, I'll just call. And otherwise I'll just leave.
I saw a bit on, I think Instagram. It was like a short of a woman receiving a text from her husband at the grocery store. He's like, "Which one is this?" And then there's like a series of like panicked text messages from the husband. And when she sees them, she's like running in slow motion to her to I don't know, to get to him or something like that because she
Yeah.
knows he's gonna get the wrong thing, yeah, or
Oh, yeah.
something, or I don't know what consequence would be. But I hadn't thought of that as being a negative thing. But it was funny how the man is helpless in the grocery store without supervision.
But yeah, no, there's a person that we know or a relationship that we know that is classically the husband will be asked to go get something, like go get apples, and he will come back 3 hours later from the place that's down the street with like oranges or like something completely wrong. And it's like, what have you been doing and how have you done it so wrong?
Dude. So in Prague, we had our flat was like a 2-minute walk, like just around the block to the little Potraviny, like the little corner shop. And Jody would send me out to get like 3 items, and she'd make me repeat them. And I'm like, I got it, 3 items. And sometimes I'd
Yeah.
be walking with like my hand out with like 1, 2, 3 fingers out, up.
Uh-huh.
And knowing, so like, okay, if I still have 1 finger up, there's something I'm missing, and I would inevitably always come back with something wrong, or I would forget something completely. And I don't know what it is, dude. Like I don't know. I would try. I mean, for the try, but I would try, and I'd go, and it was just I'd go back if I had to. It was just 2 minutes away.
Yeah.
But or also I'd grab like in the Czech Republic, butter and lard are like packaged
Man,
in the same way.
Everybody has done that. Everybody has brought home lard. There's nobody in the Czech Republic that didn't grow up here that hasn't brought home lard.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, unless you speak the language or can read in Czech, which I could at that point. I don't know why I'd just be grabbing the wrong thing. I mean, I'd never spoke it, but I could read butter.
Yeah.
And you just grabbed the wrong thing, and that was also
right next to it, and it looks exactly the same.
Yeah.
It's just a trick. It's a damn dirty trick.
Yeah. So that's kind of a little more control manipulation. Like I said, this red flag will be shorter. It's just, I think control manipulation is such a dangerous one, and I'm sure it's going to come up again in the future because there's just so much to say, and these are just ones that came up just reflexively.
Do you have any green flags for us this week?
I do have a green flag, and it's kind of like your joy last week. It's a double-edged green flag. One side's red, one side's green. And that is if the person is self-deprecating. If they can make a joke of themselves, I think that's a green flag. However, I think it could also be a red flag, and that's because if they're doing it too much, there's maybe an insecurity there that they haven't worked out yet. That maybe that's how they're dealing with it. I don't know. I mean, we've all got insecurities, but like I feel like self-deprecation in that way is maybe kind of a bright sign that this thing is still a problem. But the other one is that Donald Trump himself is charmingly self-deprecating. I've heard him make jokes about himself. I'm like, man, that was funny. And I think that's one of the ways he was able to disarm so many people. Is like, well, how can you be a bad guy if you're making fun of yourself? You know what I mean? Like, how's that possible? So anyway, that's what I mean. Like, I think generally, if you can make yourself a joke, it's a green flag. But otherwise, it can also be red.
I agree. It's definitely, it doesn't mean that you don't have red flags, but like if you can't make a joke about yourself, then I feel I feel like is a red flag. So being able to is a green flag, I think.
Sure. Yes, I like it.
Making a self-deprecating joke for sure. Yeah, I have one, I guess, and I would say it's just noticing, like, if you are around a guy and you observe him doing little things that make other people's lives easier.
Okay.
So like if you're at a restaurant and, he's kind of not ordering, but like organizing dishes a little bit more easily to pick up for the waiter or something when they're done. Or if you go over to somebody's house and they actually offer to do dishes or something like that, like just little things even that you can see they're thinking about other people in their day-to-day life. I think it's something that I think we often take for granted in women, but a lot of guys have never kind of really picked up on. Like
Mhm.
if I'm over at somebody's house, it's very frequent that the women will get together and work together in the kitchen or something like and just chat or whatever, or like somebody will start picking up dishes and it's almost invariably a woman. And so like a guy just kind of jumping in and helping out with anything is and not just kind of sitting back and being like, yes, life is happening around me. And
Yeah.
unlike most guys, I don't think are doing it in any kind of malicious way. I think they literally just don't notice. So I think noticing that things are going on around you and like trying to help other people out in little ways that aren't like too strenuous or injurious to yourself, that's a good sign. So
I like it.
yeah,
I have no notes.
good. All right. So our main topic today is the male privilege checklist. This is a spin-off of our Invisible Knapsack, where Peggy McIntosh wrote the White Privilege Knapsack, which was all about, the privileges we have as white people. But this is more along just the classic male female divide. And we have some interesting things that we could ask each other. Oh, go ahead.
No, I just wanted to say that they're not exactly questions. They're just
Oh, yeah.
they're just statements of sort of a realization of a
Mm.
privilege that maybe we're not always thinking about, but are present. It's something that we're kind of born with, just being born men or being born male rather.
Yeah. And we picked out a couple of good ones. That's not the right way to say
Couple
that.
of
I don't know.
juicy ones.
Yeah, juicy ones. Yeah. All right. So the first one, I am far less likely to face sexual harassment at work than my female coworkers are.
Have you ever been sexually harassed at work or in any other place?
In any other place, yes.
Oh,
But
okay.
at work, no. And I worked at Victoria's Secret where I was surrounded by women and like I was the only man around, and we were constantly dealing with lingerie, and the people in the store were almost exclusively women because men
Mhm.
are afraid of the store for reasons. Um, and like there was lots of times, there were lots of opportunities, but I don't ever recall being sexually harassed. But part of the trick there is like I did say I was sexually harassed once because I can think of one time in high school where and this has like it burned itself into my memory because it was such a strange experience, especially as a man, where a woman and a girl in like my grade and her friend, somebody that was like a popular sexy girl, but like, my school had over 3,000 people in it. So we didn't really know each other, but she and her friend just came up and they like pat and rubbed my chest. They were like, you have a real nice chest there. And I was like, okay. And then they just left and they just kind of like felt me up and left. And it's such a different experience as a man because as a teenage boy, I was like, "Whoa, I really missed an opportunity there." But like, but it, but it was also such a weird experience. Like I noted it and I still remember it to this day. And it definitely would, if I were a woman, it definitely would have been harassment, and
Sure.
I would probably classify it as harassment, even though it was not necessarily unwanted.
Well,
I guess.
that's the difference.
Yeah. So what
You know,
about you? What
well,
about you?
it's funny. It's funny that you said that because that's happened to me as well as a man, as a grown man. I've had women like I can think of two instances like right off the top of my head where they like felt my chest,
Mhm.
and one of them I didn't know at all standing in line for a beer at a bar. I mean, at least it was not at least it was a bar, but anyway, whatever. Like, but I hadn't ever considered that to be harassment at all because I was perfectly fine with it. Like
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
but
But
yeah,
that's a big difference between men and women right there. Like
well,
that's
yeah,
that well, like
and go ahead.
just like that we can be the same thing for us a woman grabbing our chest is something that is like not often, it's uncommon enough, and something that's not unwanted attention. So it's like we can be harassed, and it's not harassment.
It's
And
non-threatening. It's non-threatening is what it is.
non-threatening. Thank you.
Yeah. This is so in the instance where I was at a bar, I was waiting for beer. And there were these two girls, and I started talking to them. They were ahead of me, and like I don't remember the context anymore why she touched my chest, but she like ran her hands across my chest, like uninvited. Like I didn't ask her to do. She just did it, and then like to further the harassment, like her friend was like, "How was it?" And she was like, "Oh, it was good." Like they were talking about me as if as if I was an object and not even there anymore. You know what I mean? And
yeah.
And I was like, I enjoyed it. That was perfectly fine by me. But and nothing came of it. It was just a very innocent, kind of funny moment in my life. But yeah, it's I never thought of that as being something inappropriate. But I have had one instance. This wasn't exactly harassment at work, but like right before I moved to the Czech Republic, I was working at just like a hardware store, and my boss was clearly into me. Like she was, and I was not into her at all. But like, she was. It was just obvious to me that she was into me, and like she kind of used her spot to just kind of like order me around and like follow me this way, follow me that. And she never said anything inappropriate, but like I was very much her like houseboy. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
she was like, come do this with me, come do this, come do that with me. We're going to go here, we're going to go there, and kind of created this false sort of like connection that was never there. She's like, oh, like you know me, and I was just like, I'm not comfortable in this dynamic. And I remember even when I quit because I was moving, she sent me a text message like, hey, we should go get a beer. And I never responded to it. And then she wrote back again, like, really? Like that I never responded to it. And I'm like, and I never even responded to that. And like, I still kind of feel bad about that because we were cool. I didn't have a problem with her, but like, like this imagined closeness was not there for me. And like, I was just participating because she was my supervisor. You know what I mean? So I can imagine that times 10 for a woman who has to deal with that, not just once or twice, but like often in her lifetime.
Well, yeah. I think, if it happened constantly, you'd be like, oh, this fucking shit again. And I mean, like, I remember that time in high school because it was so out of nowhere. Like, it was just like the morning before class and somebody just walked up and just grabbed me. And I was like, what is going on? I was so like shocked at what was going on. Like, this is a person I don't know, just like fondling me.
Yeah.
And and like, yeah, it's seared in my memory as like, what was that? Like, I don't really know how to feel about that. Like, I don't know if I should be upset or if I just like really missed an opportunity or what.
But like even like the lightness of this conversation is representative of how not serious it is for men, because for a woman that's a traumatic moment. You know what I mean? Like, and she's if she wants to talk about it at all, there's definitely not going to be any laughter to it. Well, I won't say definitely. I don't know every person's experience, but like it's unlikely that they're going to be remembering it fondly and as a cute moment in their lives, because it's traumatic and it's scary when this person, if they want to take advantage of you, they can. You know what I mean? In a lot of cases, not every case, obviously, but.
Well, and I was thinking when you were talking about the woman that you worked with, like I worked in an office when I was 19, 20, and I was definitely like, if the roles were reversed, I was like the hot young pixie thing that like I enjoyed like being hot for all the ladies in the office, and like they'd flirt with me and I'd be like, they're in their 40s and I'd be like, It was just kind of like a fun role reversal. And I was like, I think not when it's safe like that, it's all okay. And I think there have been women throughout time that have enjoyed being like the sexy girl in the office because it's can be safe, but then of course it can cross boundaries, and that's when it gets real bad, and that's when it's the harassment and things are on the line. But yeah, and I've never, even as much as people were interested in me, I never had that experience, so it was never really a worry.
Well, even my silly little experience at work was she never was inappropriate. She was just kind of like made me uncomfortable, but like she never said anything sexually explicit or made me
Sure.
feel like my job was at stake or anything like that. You know what I mean? So I mean, it's so minor compared to what a
Yeah.
lot of women have to deal with regularly.
Yeah. Mine only got to like flirty innuendo, but it was like joking and it was fun.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's it. Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
it's fun for guys. So let's do it a couple more if you got some time.
Oh, I got some time.
So on average, this is number 8 on this list here, and we'll link you to it in the show notes. I am taught to fear walking alone after dark in average public spaces, much less than my female counterparts are. What do you think of that?
Sure. Yeah, I hear this conversation all the time. And like it's much safer here in the Czech Republic, but and it's one of the conversations that you have with women here is that they do feel safe, more safe here walking alone at night. But, everybody's seen a movie where a woman's walking down a street and there's a guy and she puts her keys between her fingers,
Right.
guys don't worry about that shit.
No, not
Like,
at all. Well, and in fact, my worry if I'm walking down a dark alley, I'm not worried at all. And if I see a person or a couple of hooligans, my fear isn't like I'm going to get sexually assaulted.
Right.
It's that, man, I'm going to have to fucking fight these guys, or these guys are going
Right.
to want to fight me. And not even a fear of being killed or anything. I'm just like, I'm going to get punched in the face or they're going to harass me in some way. But I don't fear for my life and I don't fear for my body. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Totally different and not for every woman. Some women are like, whatever, I'll strut down that alley and kick a dude in the face if I have to. They're just as capable as anybody else. But it is a thought, I think, for a lot of women when they're walking alone somewhere.
Well, then men on top of that have these little fantasies about how well they're going to do in those scenarios.
They're going to pull out all their imagined karate moves. Yeah.
And there's nothing, I don't think, I've never met a woman for which that idea is in any way exciting to like be confronted in an alley or at night.
Yeah, they're not interested in fighting anyone.
No, and men will be like, "Oh, I'd kick their ass."
Yeah.
And I think immediately of this comedy routine by Bill Cosby, who, is more Voldemort now. We shall not name him, but he'd talk about how he was doing like karate and he'd take all these lessons and then he'd be walking down alleys with money pouring out of his pockets, just waiting for somebody.
That's funny. That was Bill Cosby's joke, huh? That doesn't sound like
Yeah. So, but yeah, it's just kind of shows you the different mindset.
Right. Well, Richard Pryor has a bit like how we're taught by television to be a Chuck Norris and be able to fight somebody off. He's like, if somebody pulls out a knife and all you have is a fist with some skin on it, it's like you should run the other way.
All right, so I've got one for you. If I choose not to have children, my masculinity will not be called into question.
Yeah, it's not like, oh, you poor thing. I guess if femininity would be called into question if we reverse it as the question is or statement is suggesting. She couldn't bear children, or there's something wrong with her that she didn't want to bear children,
or you're called selfish.
Sure.
People, it's wild to me. I fully do not understand the humans that call people that don't have kids selfish. Like, if anything, I look around at the world and I'm like, it's kind of selfish to have a kid. Like, they didn't ask for this. They didn't ask for, like, my kids are really happy, but I know they're going to grow up and they're going to have a hard time in the world, and the world's not getting like to be a nicer, easier place to live in. And I'm hoping that they will be, instruments of change to make a more positive direction for the world, but it's not going to be like a good time always,
Yeah. Well,
like if anything, I feel like it's really, really kind of more selfish to have kids in this world where we're overpopulated and all these things. But and the other thing is, like, I can't tell you how many times I've seen a woman say she doesn't want to have kids, and then people will be like, "Oh, you'll change your mind." And like, sometimes, fair enough, sometimes they do, but like, just being told that you're wrong about the things that you want, like point blank, you're wrong, is wild. It's wild.
In defense of society, people have told me that.
Yeah.
My whole life, oh, you'll change your mind. You'll change, like, totally fucking dismissive. I'm like, actually, I've given this a lot of thought and I don't want fucking kids. You know what I mean? I have my reasons. That's a whole different episode, I guess. But like, I don't want fucking kids. Don't dismiss me by saying, oh, you just don't know. you don't understand. And fair enough, I don't have kids. I have a notion of like how joyous that can be, but like I don't fucking want kids. And like I said,
Yeah.
I've thought about it. But anyway, it's not a test of my gender. You know what I mean?
But I mean, I think the Manosphere would disagree with this one, actually. The Manosphere is very much about propagating genes. And like you see stuff between some of these Manosphere guys where they're like, men are even like, it's all very much like closeted gay guys. Like, are just not okay with being gay, talking to each other. Like, men are more attractive, and there's no reason to like enjoy sex. If you're doing it because it's fun, like that's gay. And it's that's the opposite of gay, actually. That's kind of the definitive piece of not gay.
That's like, that's a weird thing you just said.
But like, you know, the Musks and the Tates and all those guys that are just like, I need to get my genes out there because they're so fucking awesome. And everybody's looking at these turtle-headed individuals and being like, nobody needs more of you.
Yeah. More Musk. That's what the world needs. More Musk.
Oh, he's got that one good daughter.
More Elon. All right. Well, let's. I'd say that's it for now. I'd say right with the male privilege checklist. We're definitely going to revisit this because there's quite a few of them. How many exactly? There's 46 of them. So we'll definitely be returning.
We can come up with 4 more just to help them out,
just to whet the appetite. All right, Skip. Well, we've reached the joy part of our episode. So I'd like to know what your stop making fucking faces. What's your joy for the week? What's your joy for the week or today?
I have 2 relatively shallow joys. And one of them is actually like a reel that I saw that just cracked me up. And it's kind of relevant to our podcast.
Okay.
And I don't know if you've watched it, but it's a woman getting pulled over for using her cell phone while she's driving. And the cop's like, I saw you using your cell phone. And she's like, I wasn't using. And he's like, I saw you using your cell phone with your right hand. And she holds up her arm and she's amputated at like just above the elbow. And she's like, and then she's like, do you want to call it a day? And she gives him an out. She's like, do you want to call it a day? Or do you want to keep doing this?
Yes.
And then he keeps going. And it's just, and he keeps going. He's like, well, I saw you have, and she's like, how is that possible? And she just keeps holding up her arm. And he's like, well, you know, and it's just such a classic, like, authoritarian dude that's like, well, I couldn't possibly be wrong. And it's like, she doesn't have a fucking arm, man.
Yeah.
Like, she was not holding a phone with that. And he's like, he's like trying to get her to like, trying to save face. And he's like, so you swear you weren't talking on the phone? She's like, yeah. And he goes, hand to God. And she lifts up her arm and her handless arm and is like, hand to God.
That's so funny.
But
I did see that, but I had it on mute because I was at work and I had like put a pin in it because I wanted to listen to it later on. I just forgot.
Well, it will be in our show notes if you want to watch a dumb dude. You know, it's just like such a normal thing to see, but like it's so nice when it's just like starkly clear what's going on, where like a guy is wrong about something and he's just gonna stick to his guns, and it's like, you dumb fuck. And my other joy is I saw a preview for X-Men 97 Season 2, which is the cartoon that they brought back of X-Men. And I hear people tuning out everywhere. If you haven't watched Season 1, which is like, it's a continuation of the actual cartoon from 1997, which was fine. It was a fine cartoon. But then they brought it back and they did Season 1 of this a year or 2 ago. And it was amazing. It was so good. It had no business being that good, with just like the themes running through it and like some of the stuff going on, like emotional, like, and it's kind of the history with this cartoon, because like I've heard a whole thing about, you know, the beginning theme song, dun 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 dun, and it's like it goes hard. It goes hard in a way that 1990s cartoon songs had no right to. And and it's just like, it's kind of in that tradition. It's just like, no, we're going to make this and it's going to be so much better than you think that this cartoon about superheroes can be. So I'm very excited to see what they do with the second season of that. I'm fully prepared for it not to be as good as season one, because season one was, I loved it. It was great.
I'm gonna watch it. I
Yeah.
kept seeing the promos for it, and I'm like, because I like animated stuff, but like the art really has to get me. And that one
Mhm.
was they were kind of sticking to the original style
Yeah.
in the '90s, and I was just like, I moved on. But no, if you're saying it's so good, I'll have to check it out.
Well, the 90s art was weird and clunky.
Yeah.
And it did, like, they kept that style, but they did improve upon the animation. So there's that at least. But so that's it. Those are my shallow screen-based joys. But I'd like to know what yours are.
I'll tell you before I do that. You reminded me of when you were talking about the theme song for the X-Men. You reminded me of, and I discovered this years and years ago, but the theme song for Fraggle Rock. Have you heard that
Uh-huh.
recently? Have you heard it
Yeah.
recently?
Not recently.
This is going to lead nicely into my joys. When we took my father-in-law's or my in-laws record player,
Yeah.
we took all their old records too. One of them, they had like a 45 of Fraggle Rock for, I guess, for when Jody was a kid, and we played it, and it was just like, man, that is just a funky ass bass rhythm, and
Nice.
it's just impressive. It's a good song. But anyway, that leads to my joy of one of my joys is we bought a couple of records, or several. There's like three. It was a deal of three for X amount of dollars. And they're expensive, man. Like, I don't know if you've bought any vinyls recently, but the joy is that I've never understood people who collect vinyl records, because they're like, oh, and because they're like, they salivate over them, and like,
Yeah.
they're like, oh, it sounds so much better. I'm like, man, like I love music, and I don't fucking hear a difference in the sound. Like, it sounds the same to me. And I mean, you get like the crackling distortions and the pops.
There's
and
like
this
a
and that.
warm,
yeah.
sweatery feeling to it.
Definitely that, but it's also like antique-y. And I get that appeal if that's what you're into. But
Yeah.
as far as quality, I don't think it's better. I don't think it's a better quality. But I've come to appreciate vinyl records now in a way that I don't think was possible before, because my appreciation is, there's like a ritual of unsleeving the record, carefully putting it down on the track, moving the
Yeah.
needle, and it only goes one direction. You can't like skip. You can if you pick it up and move the needle around, but you just put it on and go. And then when you want to hear the other side, you stop it and you move the needle, you flip the record around, you put it down. So the joy is like the pace of it all. It's just like, it's this weird ritual that I wasn't expecting, and it's deliberate, and it slows you down. And I'm really, really enjoying that. It's like a fun, not even a pastime, but just like a meditative process, and I've really enjoyed it. So that's one joy.
Nice. I will say, like, even going back, I don't have a record player, but I did at one point. But even just like cassettes and CDs, like, where it's not constantly switching up, like finding a good album that's good all the way through from somebody that you enjoy. Like, man, do people even get that experience anymore? It's so great,
because they just hop around.
Yeah.
And in fact, the three albums that we bought were ones that we could listen to all the way through without skipping around. And I'm hoping, I'm trying to like manipulate Jody into just buying albums like that, because I don't want to, like, if you get like one or two hit songs on there that you like, why are we going to buy a whole album? Like, we can listen to that on Spotify or Apple iTunes or but if it's like a record, like I got the Bob Marley and the Wailers Greatest Hits, I can listen to that whole thing all the way through.
No, it's one of those road trip ones. Like, back when you used to have just like a tape player, and you were going through the middle of nowhere, and there was no radio, and it's like, I got this tape, and it's gonna last me, because you know what? I fucking love it. It's a great song. It's a great album.
By the way, I put in our show notes for last week's episode a playlist of Primus that I had already on Spotify. So you and anyone interested can enjoy it.
I'll check it out.
So my last joy is that the telepathy tapes podcast that I've like forced down people's throats. Well, I continue to force them down people's throats, and one of my friends in Prague actually finally listened to it. And she wrote me the other day saying like, oh, I'm so glad you recommended this. And like, I'm really, really enjoying it. I'm so glad there's a second season. And and the joy is that, but I'm also, there's a few other people I've recommended to at work, and I'm hounding them about it now. Like, let's do it. I'm going to back off a little bit because that's a little much, but I'm re-listening to the whole series, because I just kind of, when I recommend something, I want to go back and make sure that it's appropriate for the people that I recommended it to.
Sure.
And oh, dude, it's so, I stand by my reaction to it. It's so fucking good, man. And I once again, Skip, I recommend it to you from the beginning. You start from the beginning.
Yeah.
And it's a different experience, trust me.
I think I listened to the first episode and then I listened to some other episode.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just didn't grab me.
It gets really rich around episode 4, I would say, maybe episode 5. But like, yeah, it's good. So tell us your joys, tell us your green flags. Send it to us on Facebook, send it to us on Instagram, email it to us at outsidethemanosphere@gmail.com. And we'll do something with that probably.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us. New podcasts every Wednesday. And if any part of this show has resonated with you, let us know at outsidethemanosphere@gmail.com, Instagram, Facebook, or YouTube. Please like, rate, subscribe to the podcast YouTube channel, or recommend us to a friend. Hasta la pasta.
Mission accomplished. You reminded me when I was like 6 or 7, I had a habit of pinching butts. I don't know why. My mom must have pinched my butt a lot or something. So I thought it was funny, and I would pinch other people's butts. And I pinched my aunt's butt one time, like at Thanksgiving. Not in any kind of sexual way. I was a child.
Yeah,
you know, I was just thought it was funny to pinch a butt. And boy, I had it talking too. She was not happy about that.
That's how you learn. Yeah.
And I learned. Yeah, she explained to me why that was not a good thing.